Nobody really talks about this part. When you turn 60, the boats that impressed you when you were 40 start to look a little silly. The fast racing boats, the high-performance cruisers with electric winches on every line, the complicated rigs that need 3 people just to put in a reef. After a while, none of that really matters anymore. What matters is much simpler. Can you take the boat out by yourself on a quiet Tuesday morning without help? If something goes wrong, will it still get you back home? And when the weather turns bad, will you trust the boat more than you even trust yourself? These 10 sailboats were never the stars of boat shows. They never won big design awards. Brokers don't get excited about selling them, but they all share something far more important. They were built at a time when designers understood that sailors grow older and boats need to be built to last. Strong hulls, simple systems, easy, forgiving handling, and a reputation that only comes from many decades of people sailing them hard and making it back safely. We're counting down 10 sailboats the market mostly ignores, but experienced sailors quietly respect. By today's standards, some of them are heavy and slow. A few of them look old-fashioned. But every one of these boats will still be sailing long after today's trendy 2020s boats are abandoned because they cost too much to keep running. Which one of them has saved more lives at sea than any other production cruiser ever built? Let's find out. Number 10. Island Packet 27. The Island Packet 27 does not look fast, and it is not trying to. With a full keel, a cutter rig, and displacement that makes modern sailors wince, this boat was designed for one thing: taking sailors offshore and bringing them back safely. The hull is solid fiberglass from the waterline down. No chord sections, no place for water to hide and rot. The laminate is thick, the tabbing is heavy. Everything ties together so the boat feels like one solid piece. The cutter rig splits the sail plan into manageable pieces. When the wind builds past 20 knots, you drop the Yankee and keep sailing on staysail in Maine. No drama, just smooth power reduction. The cockpit is small and well protected with high coamings. When you are at the helm in rough weather, you are down low and surrounded by structure. For a 60-year-old sailing alone, that is the difference between a miserable day and a manageable one. Island Packet 27 S-Trade in the $30,000 to $45,000 range. That is real money for a 27-footer. But this is not a boat you buy and then spend 5 years fixing. This is a boat you buy and go sailing. If you are watching this because you are actually planning your next boat, hit the like button, and if this kind of honest breakdown is useful, subscribe. Number 9. Cabo Rico 34. The Cabo Rico 34 is what happens when a builder ignores trends and just makes the best small cruiser they know how to build. Heavy, traditional, bulletproof. The hull is hand-laid with a full keel and a skeg-hung rudder that is protected and nearly impossible to damage. The deck is teak over plywood core. Cabo Rico did it right. The teak is screwed and bedded properly. Keep up with basic maintenance, and these decks last decades. Below deck, the joinery is solid teak. Real teak, not veneer. Actual planks cut and finished by hand. The entire interior feels like furniture, not like the inside of a fiberglass shell. The rig is a simple sloop-sized conservatively. Roller furling is standard on most boats from the 1980s and 1990s. You can reduce sail from the cockpit. Cabo Rico 34S sell for $60,000 to $90,000. That is high for a 34-footer. But these boats do not come up often. When they do, they move fast. A boat built like they do not build them anymore. Number 8. Valiant 32. The Valiant 32 does not need an introduction. This is the boat that went everywhere. Cape Horn, the Southern Ocean, high latitudes, places where mistakes cost lives, and the Valiant kept bringing people home. The hull is solid fiberglass, no core below the waterline, thick, heavy, strong. The layup is overbuilt, which is exactly what you want when you are 65 sailing alone in 30 knots. The boat does not flex, it just plows through. The rig is a cutter. The staysail becomes your primary headsail when things get serious. You can sail comfortably in 25 to 30 knots on staysail in reefed Maine. The boat balances, the helm stays manageable, the rudder is massive. Even in big following seas, the boat tracks straight and does not want to round up. You can let go of the wheel for a few seconds without the boat trying to kill you. Valiant 32 seconds sell for $70,000 to $120,000. That is serious money. But buyers are not looking for a bargain. They want a boat that will not quit when things go wrong. The Valiant has proven that for 50 years. Number 7. Hallberg-Rassy 31 Monsun. The Hallberg-Rassy is a Swedish-built pocket cruiser that feels bulletproof the moment you step aboard. Scandinavian builders understood cold water and rough weather. That philosophy is baked into every part of this design. The hull is solid fiberglass with a moderate fin keel and a skeg-hung rudder. The ballast ratio is around 40%. The motion is firm but not harsh. It absorbs chop instead of slamming through it. The deck layout is smart. Everything you need is within reach of the cockpit. The winches are sized properly and positioned so you are not straining your shoulders. The cockpit is deep and narrow, which keeps you secure when the boat is heeled over. The interior is teak built to a standard most American production boats do not try to match. The joinery is tight. The drawers slide smoothly. The entire space feels like someone designed it for people who were actually going to live aboard, not for photographing well at boat shows. Hallberg-Rassy from the 1980s and 1990s trade in the $40,000 to $70,000 range. Not cheap, but the boats hold value because they were built right. Number 6. Pacific Seacraft 31. The Pacific Seacraft 31 is one of those boats sailors talk about in quiet voices with a kind of respect usually reserved for much larger yachts. It is small, it is slow by modern standards, and it is one of the most seaworthy production sailboats ever built in its size range. The hull is based on the North Sea design by Lyle Hess, a traditional double-ender with a full keel and lines that look like they came from 100 years ago. And in some ways, they did. The layup is solid fiberglass throughout with no core anywhere. The hull-to-deck joint is through-bolted and glassed from the inside. Surveyors love these boats because there is nothing to go wrong. No water intrusion, no core delamination, just solid glass. The rig is a cutter with a staysail that becomes your primary working sail over 20 knots. The whole sail plan is designed so one person can manage everything from the cockpit without heroics. The cockpit is tiny, but when you are sitting in there in 30 knots with waves breaking over the bow, you understand why. You are protected, and protection matters more than space. Our Pacific Seacraft 31S sell for $80,000 to $130,000. Expensive for a 31-footer, but buyers understand they are paying for a boat built to a standard that does not exist anymore. A boat that will outlast its owner. Number 5. Tayana 37. The Tayana 37 broke the mold when it came out in the 1970s. People expected cheap construction from Taiwan. What they got was a legitimate blue water cruiser with joinery that put most American builders to shame. Bob Perry designed it. Ta Xing built it, and thousands of sailors bought them and sailed them all over the world. The hull is solid fiberglass with a full keel and encapsulated lead ballast. The rudder is skeg-hung, protected, and strong enough to take a grounding. The hull-to-deck joint is through-bolted and glassed from inside. The rig is a cutter with a staysail that handles heavy lifting when the wind builds. The Yankee is big and powerful in light air but rolls away easily. Most experienced cruisers leave it traditionally rigged because it is more reliable. The interior is what makes people stop and stare. Solid teak joinery throughout. The entire space looks like a classic yacht from the 1920s. The V-berth is big enough for 2 adults. The galley is U-shaped with a gimbaled stove. The nav station has a proper chart table. The aft cabin has a double berth. This is a boat designed for living aboard and covering serious miles. Tayana 37S sell for $60,000 to $110,000 depending on condition and equipment. For a sailor over 60 who wants a proven design with a track record of going around the world, the Tayana 37 is hard to beat. Number 4. Cape Dory 36. The Cape Dory 36 is what you get when a designer looks at a traditional New England fishing schooner and builds it in fiberglass for recreational sailors. Carl Alberg designed it in the 1970s. Cape Dory built it through the 1980s, and the boats are still out there, still sailing, still bringing their owners home after 40 years. The hull is solid fiberglass with a full keel. The ballast is lead. The keel is long and deep, which gives incredible directional stability. Set a course and trim the sails and the boat tracks like it is on rails. You can tie off the helm, go below to make lunch, and come back to find the boat still heading the same direction. The construction is heavy and overbuilt. The laminate schedule is thick. The hull-to-deck joint is through-bolted on 8-inch centers. The bulkheads are tabbed in with massive layups. When you walk through one of these boats, you understand why they last. The rig is a cutter. The mainsail is modest. The Yankee is manageable. The whole sail plan is designed to be handled by 1 or 2 people without electric winches. The cockpit is small and well protected with high coamings and a solid bridge deck. When you're sitting in there in bad weather, you feel like you are in a bunker. Safe, dry, secure. Cape Dory 36s trade in the $50,000 to $90,000 range. For a sailor who wants a proven offshore design with a reputation for toughness, the Cape Dory 36 is one of the best values on the used market. Number 3. Westsail 32. The Westsail 32 is the boat that defined the offshore cruising movement in the 1970s. It is not fast, it is not comfortable by modern standards, and it is one of the most seaworthy production sailboats ever built. The design is based on centuries-old Norwegian fishing boat designs: heavy displacement, full keel, massive rudder. Every design choice was made to prioritize survival over speed or comfort. The hull is solid fiberglass, no core, no foam. Just layer after layer of hand-laid mat and roving built up to a thickness that makes the hull feel like armor. The ballast is lead, encapsulated in the keel. The keel is integral to the hull. No keel bolts to fail. The rig is a cutter. The staysail becomes your primary working sail in heavy weather. The boat will sail comfortably in anything up to 35 or 40 knots with staysail and reefed main. Heaving to is where the Westsail earns its reputation. Backwind the staysail, sheet the main in flat, lash the helm, and the boat just sits there, angled off the wind, making slow progress. You can leave it like that for hours, days if you need to. That ability has saved lives, a lot of lives. The interior is basic. This is a boat designed for function, not comfort. And for older sailors who have been offshore and know what really matters, that is exactly what they want. Westsail 32s sell for $30,000 to $70,000 depending on condition. For a sailor over 60 who wants the most seaworthy boat they can afford and does not care about speed or comfort, the Westsail 32 is the answer. If you have made it this far, and this kind of honest look at what makes a boat trustworthy is valuable to you, please subscribe. This channel is built around one idea: stop chasing the new and start paying attention to what works when you are out there alone. Number 2. Contessa 32. The Contessa 32 is a legend, not because it is pretty, not because it is comfortable, but because it is proven over and over that a small, well-designed yacht can survive conditions that would sink boats twice its size. The design is by David Sadler. It is one of the most studied and copied yacht designs of the 20th century. The ballast ratio is high, the center of gravity is low, the stability curve is steep. The boat resists heeling and has a strong righting moment if it does get knocked down. It is engineered to take care of you when things go wrong. The hull is solid fiberglass with no core. The deck is balsa cord, but the original builders did it right. The hull-to-deck joint is through-bolted and glassed over. The chain plates are massive and through-bolted to structural members. Everything about the construction says this boat was designed to go offshore. The rig is a masthead sloop. In light air, you fly a Genoa and the boat moves beautifully. In heavy air, you change down to a working jib and reef the main. The boat becomes incredibly manageable. The cockpit is small and deep with high coamings. When you are at the helm in rough weather, you are surrounded by structure and you feel secure. Everything about the deck layout says this boat was designed by someone who understood what it is like to be tired, cold, wet, and alone at sea. The Contessa 32 has been sailed around the world by solo sailors in their 70s. It has survived Force 10 storms. It has crossed the North Atlantic in winter. It has been knocked down and rolled, and it has kept its crew safe and brought them home. Contessa 32s sell for $50,000 to $120,000 depending on condition and equipment. For a sailor over 60 who wants a proven offshore design that is small enough to handle alone but tough enough to survive anything, the Contessa 32 is one of the best choices on the market. Number 1. North Sea 27. The North Sea 27 earns the number 1 spot not because it is the biggest or the fastest or the most impressive. It earns it because it is the most honest. This is a boat designed by Lyle Hess for one specific purpose: to take ordinary people offshore in a small yacht and bring them home safely. And it has done that job better than almost any other production sailboat ever built. The hull is a traditional double-ender with a full keel and lines that look like they came from the age of sail. And in a sense, they did. Hess was drawing on centuries of proven design, translating traditional workboat shapes into a modern fiberglass yacht. The layup is solid fiberglass throughout. No core anywhere. The hull is thick and heavily built. The ballast is lead encapsulated in the keel. The keel is integral to the hull. No keel bolts to fail. The rudder is skeg-hung, protected, and strong. The rig is a cutter. The staysail becomes your primary working sail when the wind builds past 20 knots. The Yankee is big enough to move the boat in light air but rolls away easily. The mainsail is small and manageable. The whole sail plan is designed so that one person can handle everything from the cockpit. The cockpit is tiny. Some people call it a bathtub. But when you are sitting in there in 30 knots with waves breaking over the bow, you understand why. You are down low. The coamings are high. You are protected. And when you are 65 and sailing alone, protection matters more than space. The North Sea 27 has crossed the Pacific with solo sailors in their 70s. It has survived storms that sank bigger boats. It has been to Antarctica. It has circumnavigated multiple times, and it has brought them all home safely. This is not a boat that wins races or impresses people at the dock. This is a boat that takes care of you when everything goes wrong, and the nearest help is 1,000 miles away. North Sea 27s sell for $40,000 to $80,000. That is a lot for a 27-footer. But the people buying them understand what they are paying for. A boat that was designed and built to go offshore and survive. A boat with a 50-year track record of doing exactly that. A boat that will outlive its owner. For a sailor over 60 who wants the most seaworthy small cruiser ever built and does not care about impressing anyone, the North Sea 27 is the answer. Every boat on this list shares something the modern market does not value anymore. Simplicity, strength, forgiveness. These are not the boats that win design awards or get featured in glossy magazines. They are the boats that bring you home when the wind hits 40 knots and the autopilot quits and you are alone. The sailing world is obsessed with new. Faster, lighter, more complex. But complexity is the enemy of reliability. And reliability is the only thing that matters when you are 65, sailing alone, and 1,000 miles from help. These 10 boats were built during an era when designers understood that. They understood that sailors get older. They understood that systems fail. And they designed boats that could survive both. If you are over 60 and planning your next boat, stop chasing the new and start looking at what has already proven itself. These boats have been to every ocean. They have survived every condition, and they are still out there, still sailing, still bringing their owners home safely. That is not marketing. That is 50 years of evidence. If this video helped you think differently about what actually matters in a sailboat, hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to see it. And if you want more honest breakdowns like this, subscribe. This channel is about cutting through the noise and focusing on what really works when you are out there alone. More videos are coming. What boat on this list would you trust with your life? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear from sailors who have actually been out there.